Hey, what's up, guys? This is Isaacs, and this week we're talking about relationships, dating, fears, and just advice and tips in general. Um, Coming out trans and trying to date has not proven to be a simple thing. Me personally, I had to deal with adjusting and learning how to date all over again, or at least that's how it felt. What I mean by that is, before transition, most of us are kind of labeled as either being like a butch lesbian or something along those sorts if you were lesbian identifying before, um, or if you were straight before. Those terms kind of get changed around once HRT comes into place. Um, if you were straight prior to transition, and what I mean by that is you were still presenting female and dating men, you would have been straight back then. Now you are presenting male and dating male. If you stayed to that, you'd identify as gay. Beforehand, before my transition personally, still female, was dating females. I got thrown into the bubble of lesbian. Um, got categorized as butch or a stud. So with hormones coming into play, it threw me into this whole new thing. Now I'm categorized as being a straight male, which is something I had to learn to adjust to. I came out later in life. I came out when I was like 28. So identifying that way for so long, and then basically coming off to society as being normal kind of caught me off guard. Like, to everyone now that doesn't know and doesn't know my standings, just sees a straight guy with a woman, you know? So it just comes off as normal to society. And I'm not used to that. I'm used to standing out, you know? I still go to gay bars because I have plenty of friends that still go, and that's where I choose to hang out instead of straight bars. And I feel like that part of my identity is starting to disappear some. You kind of start to feel like invisible in the gay scene when no one sees you for the struggles that you overcome or for who you used to be, and you're just starting to look like a straight man to everyone, you know? So I had to learn how to deal with that. Just realizing that now this is the way I come across to people. When I took that into account and started trying to date, I had to figure out when to come out to someone, which is a hard decision in itself to make, because you have to kind of keep things in the back of your mind that you know at some point you're gonna have to tell them. But do you want to say it too soon? Do you want to say it to the wrong people? You say it to the wrong people, you put yourself at risk of possible harm. You can't just go to, like, let's say a straight bar and tell everyone, hey, I'm trans. Like, right off the bat, that puts you in a bad situation, a dangerous situation. So you have to be careful when it comes to that. At the gay bars, which is where I end up meeting people, and as weird as it sounds, I know, I've had some luck at the gay bars meeting women, but I'll talk to them for a little bit, and I'll just kind of like throw that out there, like, hey, I'm trans, and if they're okay with it, then they're okay with it. If they're not, then they're not, and it goes from there. But I don't think that I would have done that at a straight bar, just because of safety issues, you know? Yeah, I'd excuse that, so I'm trying to pick up where I left off. I was single for like a little over 2 years. And I was dating someone when I first started transition. and that was kind of a toxic relationship. So I just focused on myself for. Y'all gotta excuse me on these phone calls. I'm at work right now, but what I was saying is I just wanted to focus on myself after that split up with my ex. I wanted to make sure that I got myself stable, and that's partially just because it was so toxic that she made me doubt myself and question a lot of stuff. So I just took a good hiatus from dating to just really get comfortable with myself and focus on my happiness and where I needed to be at in my transition. I recently met someone, and I do have a girlfriend now, and that's really fresh, but we've been talking since June. That's when we met, and we've been dating now for 2 weeks or so. So it's just really fresh. Now her, I did meet at a gay bar, and I did tell her that I was trans, like, the first time we hung out. So she knew what she was getting into. I didn't hide anything from her. There's a lot of people you tell that to, though, and they're not okay with it. So you just want to make sure that you kind of, like, test the situation before you come out. I will tell you this. I did tell her, like, right away, but we met, like, 2 or 3 times beforehand that our friends just introduced us, but we didn't, like, talk. It was just like, hi, nice to meet you, and then we went our separate ways. When we actually sat there and talked was when I told her. And that's after, like, I don't know, like 30 minutes of talking. And she was okay with it, and we've been talking since, and I brought her around some of my family already, and friends, and everyone likes her so far. So, as far as tips in dating, it's not going to be easy. You just have to really keep things in mind and keep your surroundings in mind. You have to keep your safety in mind, honestly. That's what it comes down to, is where you're at, your environment, where you're at. Do you feel safe where you're at? Do you feel like you can go ahead and tell this person this, you know? I know a lot of people use online dating, and that's actually, I probably would say no to that. The reason I say that is just because if it's like an app, like let's say POF or Tinder or something along those lines, people always want to question you. If you put in your profile that you're trans, they want to ask you questions. They don't necessarily want to date you. They want to ask, like, just really personal questions that you probably don't want to answer, or they'll say something that you don't want to hear, you know. So I would probably avoid that. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up, and I will see y'all later.